Good evening, people. Welcome to Reaching Out with Eddie, where it's a new year, folks. And I definitely believe in a new year, having a new beginning. And so that's the title of our show. It's a new year, and we all should look at a new beginning. And the reason why I say that, if we're doing things and we're seeing that it's not productive or it's not working for us, it's time for us to look and do something differently. I want to talk about a few things. Um, I just have to shake my head at the state of the country, the United States. And the reason why I say that is because you look how our representatives, our senators, and our representatives get all in an uproar about things that are not productive or conducive for the United States, for us in the different communities that we live in. And that's one of the things that perplex me is that we see them doing so much and raising hell about nothing. We have so many problems in America with the homeless, with the high cost of living. And do you know, people, that now we are $34 trillion in debt? 34 trillion. That is outrageous. And we just sent or about to send to the Ukrainians $250 million. So in 1 month, Biden administration had to borrow over if I'm not mistaken, in order to bring it up to the trillion. I think they borrowed almost $1 billion or $1 trillion. I have that written down right here, but I wanted to talk about that, right? 100 billion. That's what they did in 1 day. The Biden administration borrowed $100 billion because the national debt stood on December the 29th. It was 34 trillion and 34 and $1 trillion. 33 billion. I mean 400. Wait, hold on. Let me get it right, folks. I want to say it right for you. 34 and 1 trillion 493 billion 655 million. I mean, this is just folks, I got it. Let me get it right. I said it wrong. It's 34 trillion 1 billion 493 million 655 thousand $565 and 48 cents. The very next day, that's it was that was the that's what that was on the 29th. It was, but on the 28th, it was 33 trillion 911 billion 227 million $723 $723,000 and $170. And the next day, I'm talking $100 billion the Biden administration spent and sending this money. Look, we got problems with the homeless. Gas is going up. It is so many problems. We got dilapidated buildings. We have streets, roads, and we have so many things in America. We have the high cost of living in America, but job wages are not going up for the working class people. These are the things that are going on in America that we need to fix at home before we start doing things. But I got to talk about this. The Ukrainians, white people, attacked Russia, another white folks. So we talking about white Europeans. They attacked them, and so and you really, when you fight a war, you don't suppose to attack civilians at all. It's against the Geneva Convention and everything. It's just wrong, and it's just against the law everywhere. Those are war crimes. It's terrorism, and so Russia precision struck a lot of targets. And let's say when Russia was hit by the Ukrainians, I think about 20 people were killed. When Russia did theirs, they destroyed places that they just basically annihilated the industrial complex, the military industrial complex. These are the people where they store weapons. They attack a building, but this here was where the soldiers was living at, the ones that were not from the Ukrainians. And so and they're in an uproar about that. But look at Israel, white folks attacking Palestinians, where you've had over 10,000 children being killed, about 20,000 people altogether, civilians that have been killed by the Israeli people, white folks. Now we're talking about people of color. See, folks, you better pay attention. So what they're saying that it's okay to kill people of color like you and like myself, but it's wrong people to kill women and children anywhere. It's wrong. And but the Biden administration is condoning Israel killing. I mean, Israel. I mean, I think 100 and some people, or maybe 1,500 people, were hurt or killed when the Palestinians attacked Israel. Since then, they have retaliated and have killed right at 20,000 civilians, and nobody is saying anything about that. People see we have a problem with overpopulation in the world. So if your house is crowded, you're going to clean your house out. People's in power. They're not going to destroy their home. They're not going to do anything to their own. If you think something's going to happen to Hunter Biden, you about to lose your mind. There's no way Joe Biden's going to allow for anything to happen to his son. You just watch and see. It's just so many things going on a national level. I wanted to tell y'all about Donald Trump. Donald Trump want to build a wall. He want to build a wall in America. He want to build a wall so that you can keep the people of color out. The people of color coming from South America, such as the Mexicans, you know, all those places down there in those areas, right? And so he want to build a wall. Mostly it's Mexican immigrants want to keep out of the country. Guess what, folks? Donald Trump's mom, her name was Marianne McLeod. She came to America in 1930 from Scotland. See, look at that. In 1930. So if we'd have built a wall, if they had built a wall in America, say in 1929, then she would not be here and we wouldn't be dealing with this Trumpism and all that kind of stuff. My point is that I think immigrants are very necessary in America. I think so, because that's what helped build America. But the African immigrants most certainly built the country. So definitely we need immigrants in America. I think that, and the reason why I say that, because I look around at the neighborhoods and then you look at a lot of Mexicans, whether immigrants or illegal or whatever, the population is doing a very good job in revitalizing communities because they'll go in and buy an old house and fix it up and put their touch on it. And I know that I can say this, people say, they have done so well in such a short period of time by coming together. Everybody demonstrate to us, Black people, what we could be doing and what we should be doing so that we could do better, so that we could be better. It ain't nothing but just sticking together, coming together and working hard and doing what you need to do in order to do what you want to do. And that's what I've seen the Hispanic population come into this country and do, the places that I've been. I noticed that when we can go back, say, to 2004. Wasn't that many here, but when you saw them, they was in old raggedy vehicles. And say we can go on up 10 years from that and go up to, say, 2015, still in those raggedy vehicles, but you can see the transition. And just in this shorter time, you come and you see the Mexican Americans pulling up at Home Depot, Lowe's, and places like that. They coming up in dualies, they're riding in expensive vehicles, they're living in good neighborhoods, but they didn't get that because they got food stamps or welfare. They got that by pulling themselves up by their own bootstrap. And wow, it's funny how I said that. Clarence Thomas is who I got that from. He said he pulled himself up by his own bootstrap. But look at it, come to find out he's one of the biggest criminals in this country. He's paid to do what he's doing, and that's sad. And because the way this country is set up, they're not going to do anything to him. Had he been a liberal justice, he'll probably already be in jail or in trouble. We got to get away from the conservative, being conservative, being liberal, being Republican, being Democrat. We got to get away from all those things, and we just got to look at it as being people, being Americans. You hear Tuba talking to me, say, bro, you always talking about black and white. Well, yeah, we got to get away from that too, because it is black and white, but in a sense it ain't. If we start looking at things and do things, it's hard to do things equal, but you can always do things fair. Fairness in itself creates equality, whereas equality is not necessarily fair. So I don't really care about equal treatment. I want to be treated fairly. Now, what does that really mean? It means that sometimes when you treating somebody fair, you got to go above and beyond what's necessary in order to balance out the equation. And I definitely wanted to point that out by Donald Trump mama was an immigrant and nobody kept her from coming into this country. And folks, I gotta ask yourself, do you really want a liar narcissist, has no respect for females, a person that obviously a criminal, that been indicted 90 times for. Do you really want a president or a person to be president of the United States that would cause the kind of commotion that was created on January 6th? In 2 days, it'll be anniversary, first year anniversary. Do you really want that person to be a president? Those of you aren't saying, yeah, 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 yeah. What if it was me? No, what if I had done the same exact thing? Would you still be saying yes? What if it was Obama? Would you still be saying yes? Bill Clinton, Tool Belt. No, you would not. If you said you would, you're a lie and the truth ain't in you. Because look, let's just go right now. I want to talk about, I want to send my condolences out to the families that lost their children. That's the Jordan family and the Taylor family. I hope they don't mind me mentioning their last names. I gotta say this, people, is that they made it look so bad that like this here was a stolen car. And when I read that in the newspaper, you know, WTOK ain't gonna never make us look good. No, no, not at all. When I read that, the first thing I was thinking that it was a high speed chase, because just the day before, if I'm the 29th or the 30th, up here in Jefferson County, uh, Midfield police was chasing a person that had actually stole a car, and he ran head on into a female that was wild. Just talked to her mom heading home, and it killed her instantly. So I don't condone high speed. It really, I gotta ask you that out there, Mr. Officer of the Law. Is it really so important to jeopardize the public in any kind of way in engaging in a high speed chase because somebody ran a red light? Or maybe they stole something at Walmart and Walmart got the description of the tag and you get behind them and you chase them. And the things I'm talking about, baby, I'm just, folks, I'm just randomly speaking, but these things have actually happened. It has been time when people have been killed. Some places don't even allow a high speed chase. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Hoover, because they killed someone chasing them about nothing, they can't do that. And so this here was an incident, if I'm not mistaken, occurred in Hoover, but it was Midfield police that got involved and chased this person and caused them to have a wreck and caused somebody to lose their life. Another thing I want to talk about too is they saying that this person here, I'm understanding that he lost control of the vehicle and people. I'm also told that it wasn't a stolen vehicle. It was his grandmother's car. It was his grandmother's car, and he got it, and he was using it and driving it, and did not return it. So they call it unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. No, and for them to keep saying it's a stolen car, trying to put it into the public mind that this car was stolen. It was he was living there. He got the car and he never took it back. And from what I understand, from what I'm understanding, is that's the very reason why the grandmother did not press charges on him, because it was her grandson and he got the car and she didn't want anything to happen. And then the person, I have a name, I'm not gonna give it, was the only person that was able to get out of the car. He, from what I'm understanding, climbed through the sunroof and went home to the grandmother, or somebody did. Either way, um, I don't know whether that person's still looking. I have different stories that they're still looking, but I just say that it's very, very unfortunate when a parent loses a child. And I know that these were, I know one of the ladies, and she was a good mother. I don't know her personally. I've seen her before, and my family know her, and some of my friends and associates know her. She was a very good mother. It just goes to show that you can do everything right, and at the end of the day, things that are unfortunate happen, and there's no fault of either parent. And so I want to extend my condolences to the families that lost their child, and that's sad. That's sad, and it affected my daughter because she knew one of the young men, the one that died instantly. And it was a close friend of hers. The puppy love. I think that was her ex boyfriend or something, I'm told. So that was kind of traumatic for her. So again, people, I wanted to talk about that. I don't, I don't, I don't know, people. Let's just. This is a new year. It's time for a new beginning. If you've been doing things a certain kind of way and it has not been working for you, how about trying to do something different? Um, I, um, I wanted to point out too, and you got to look at the differences and the things that have been happening. And there's some things I want to ask you guys: how was your Christmas? Was your Christmas okay? You know, was it great? How was your holiday? How was your New Year? Oh, I got to talk about the New Year. Let me tell you something, people. This is the first time that I was let's just say that I was awake in the area that I am in. Folks, I can tell you that I heard guns go off for about 10 minutes. I mean, loud. Ooh, I'm to automatic weapons. I mean, ooh, I have never heard gunfire lasts so long. And I've been a lot of places. I got to tell you this: these folks up here armed and dangerous. I'm not in no white neighborhood. I'm in a black neighborhood. They are armed and dangerous. So don't you think they ain't got no gun, because they got one. And I mean, folks, wow, I would hate for anybody was to come into this neighborhood and try to start something. Because if they come in here, they better come in with some armor personnel carriers or something. These people's are, we could hear it coming, back. We could hear it
Yeah,
at
it
10
actually
miles away. I mean,
yeah,
it,
it
I
actually
never heard
lasted
anything like that in my
it
life.
lasted it lasted 2 hours. Like
And it,
they was
it,
going back to back. It lasted 2 whole hours.
I'm talking about them when they took our ball. Ooh, like usually when you hear, it's a few guns,
For
like that. It
sure.
wasn't like that in Jefferson County, Alabama. For
Oh,
they
what?
folks in Jefferson County, Alabama, especially in the black community, they are armed. I'm talking about it. They seem to have plenty of bullets too, don't they, Q? What's up, Q? How
Yep.
you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't have nothing to talk about now, but next week I will, because it's something certain that I want to touch on. So next week I have something to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Q.
Mhm.
Anyway, people, I want to say this too, is that we have some good people in our communities, and we have some good folks. And so, but we gotta change things, and we gotta well, you look at Maine, uh, took Trump off the ballot, saying he's ineligible for president of the United States. And he is, folks. And then, folks, I tell you something else too. They talk about Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. You have Section 2 that authorized the Census Bureau to remove, like when, let's say, like let's just use, say, Mississippi for instance. Say Mississippi engaged in that, or any kind of voter suppression or anything like that, and in Mississippi engaged in something like that, and you had um, say 10% of the roll or something, the Census Bureau is allowed to remove those 10% of the people. For they lose one electoral vote, and also they lose one representative. In some states that have engaged in that and voter suppression, anything like that. I think one of those states kept about, if I'm not mistaken, about 30 or 300,000 people off the roll, which was 10% of their voters' roll. And so by them doing that, and we're talking about the state, so it must have been about 300,000. Either way, that state, if you was to invoke the law, now I'm for the law, y'all hear me say that all the time. If you invoke the law, then that state would lose one vote. Say that they get to vote three people for the electoral college, then they lose one, it goes down to two. And then if they have, say, three representatives, they lose one and it goes down to two. That's what the Constitution say. You got to get out of your feeling out there, podcast land. You got to get out of your feeling and start invoking the law. We all just go according to the law, get our feelings off our sleeve and go according to the law. How about that's the fair thing to do? You wouldn't see Democrat, you wouldn't see Republican, and you think Donald Trump talking about the election was stolen. He's a liar. You folks, it wasn't stolen. If it was stolen, then it's been stolen all the time. It wasn't stolen. He hired someone to go in and find cases of fraud and to show that. He got mad at the person and fired. And he paid him. He still told a lie that it was stolen. He knows it wasn't stolen, but he incite you out there in podcast land with his lies and with his insurrection. Really, people, do you really want this? Do you want what happened in January 6th to happen again? We're either going to stop it or it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. If you want the same thing to happen this year or next year, do you want it to happen again? If it happen again, it's going to be worse next time. It's not going to be better. So we got to, as Barney Fife on Andy Griffith show, we got to nip it in the bud. Tool Belt just said we got to nip it in the bud. It ain't about Donald Trump. It's what Donald Trump ass did. He is not above the law. And you know what? No one, this Supreme Court said that. No one, anyone break the law as should be held accountable to the full extent of the law. Now, I don't care who it is. I don't care if you're president of the United States. If you break the law while you're in there, put his ass in jail while he's in there. That's just how he's saying that he's immune. You notice what he's not saying? You peoples out there, you white folks that listen at me and get mad at me. Donald Trump ain't saying he ain't done nothing wrong, but Donald Trump saying that he's immune from prosecution. He's telling you that he broke the law. He know he broke the law. He did all this shit that he shouldn't have did. But he's saying that because he's president, he's immune from prosecution. Really, people? Well, understand that if he's immune from prosecution, he can go in there and become president of the United States again and do whatever the hell he want to do, because the Supreme Court is got to be careful, and this is a conservative court. Because if they say that he's immune from prosecution, they can invalidate them. So I don't think Donald Trump gonna get the counter ending that he want, and he should not. And it ain't because of him. I think Donald Trump exposed America. He showed that you have two sets of laws. Joe Biden has exposed America. He's showing that they have two sets of law. They have a set of law for rich people or privileged folks, and then the non-privileged folks. You have a set of laws for white folks. They're applicable for, they're up there for everybody to read and see and understand, but they're only applicable to certain people. Because look at Donald Trump. He broke the law. 96 indictments. Wow. It's unheard of. This is, our children is watching us, and you have peoples in Israel, young folks, Generation Z, refuse to go to the war, going to jail because they refuse. They don't like what's being done. Neo-colonialism is dead. Might make right, that stuff is gone. Might ain't really might like you think it is. And so we just got to do a lot of things different. This is a new year, and boy, there go my daughter writing this Spanish again. They saying, well, I'm gonna make them read it. I'm gonna have one of them come in here and read it. They saying all this stuff. They saying they just saying so many things, but I think I could do that. This here. But anyway, y'all need to translate what y'all are saying. But anyway, y'all can leave it up there. We'll translate later. And most of even I can't understand it, but they're learning the Spanish, and so they're having fun, and they're on the podcast. I wanted to make sure I talk about all the things that I wanted to talk about. If Donald Trump is immune, then he's an autocrat. He's a king, and he can literally stay in power. If he becomes president again, he's not going anywhere. If you're saying what he did before is okay, then that invalidates when we don't need to vote anymore. He'll get in power and stay in there, just like Zelensky, whatever his name is, in the Ukraine. He said he declared martial law, and that case he keeps him in power. Folks, I want to talk about children, and I want to talk about putting children in uniforms. I read what Meridian Public School came out with. I want to go back and talk about the unfortunate incident where the two middle school students, teenagers, were killed that went to Meridian Public School. Amy Carter closed that school out and put grief counselors there on on one day before they were supposed to go to school, and then the next day when they returned to school. And Amy Carter, I'm gonna say you got it wrong. You should have did the entire Meridian public school system like that. And the reason why I say that is because, well, you assuming that only people that went to Northwest Middle School was affected by that, but my daughter went to Magnolia and she was affected by that. So you had people, when you talking about people, these children were well known. And so you should have closed Meridian Public School, middle schools, period, down, all of them, and allow for even the high schools, because some of them went to the high school and they had family at the high school. So this affected, anytime children are affected in such a tragic way, the school itself should close down for that one day and allow for grief counselors to be at all other camps. See how incompetent your ass is. Y'all need to get rid of Amy Carter. Y'all need to get rid of the school board, need to get rid of Amy Carter. Amy Carter is a failure. She's standing there and have our children. They say they can't wear hoodies now, and telling them what they can, talking about the dress code, what they're gonna enforce, talking about phones. You should not touch anyone's phone because it does not belong to you. And what if something happened like what just happened in America in one of the little small towns, wherever it is, where somebody went in there and killed someone? You see that happen in schools all the time. If they didn't have cell phones, they could not call and let their family know and that kind of thing. You should not, if a child do something they shouldn't do, then punish them, but do not take their phones from them. They should allow for them to have their phones at school, and they should be able to have their schools in it. But under no circumstances should an administrator, teacher, or anyone take a child phone from them, because you don't own that phone. That phone belongs to that child or that child's family. You should not touch it. Again, another indication. And folks, let's just talk about individuality. How about a child can never become an individual when they look like everybody else? Everybody's the same. Everybody's doing the same. And Meridian Public School is very good in taking away a child's individuality. Meridian Public School does not allow for a child to self-actualize, because I pointed out last week how my son dressed and how well he's doing in school. And you look at Meridian Public School as a failing school system. It's failing. The superintendent is the person, the buck stopped with her ass. She, or it's, in this case, it's a her. They need to terminate her. Since the school board will not do that, they like what she's doing, which is failing your children, taking away their individuality and putting them in a category and making all of them look the same and act the same. And that is very bad when a child doesn't know how to self-actualize, focusing too much on the wrong thing instead of the right thing, which is educating our children. And we need to do that. Folks, I had to talk about that. I don't want to say anything else. I want to, I can't read any of these comments other than I love you, Dad. So I don't see anything else. People, this is a new year and a new beginning. Have a lot of things going on with me. Have a lot of things going on that I'm going to be doing this year. We have to be forever vigilant so that we can stay on top of things. Yeah, folks. Q. You wanted to say something?
But what I wanted to just say was, like I feel like they shouldn't tell them. I feel like Meridian Public School, they shouldn't tell kids that they can't wear hoodies or jackets. I mean, because who wants to be cold in a classroom? Like, it's cold in the classrooms, and yeah, and that's all I
And
want.
and, uh, and I'm going to
And then
touch upon.
it's always cold in the morning. So what, a child will instantly grab a hoodie.
Yeah,
Like, they will instantly grab a hoodie. They're not gonna grab no jacket. So I
yeah.
mean, yeah,
Again, they focusing on the wrong thing. What difference
yeah,
does it make if a child have a hoodie on? Naturally, you shouldn't wear the hood over your face, but they
right.
should have it on if it's outside and it's cold. I don't even understand it. Ain't nobody at Meridian Public School got killed. Amy Carter, you ain't shit. You ain't doing shit, and you ain't shit. You need to take your ass somewhere and go and collect that money everywhere and get the hell. We'll go back wherever you came from. But you are a failure. You couldn't get a job anywhere else. Amy Carter, I bet you couldn't get a job nowhere else because they're gonna look at your record. And your record say you ain't shit. Your record, you ain't done nothing. You ain't did nothing but mess our school system up and mess our children up and keep them going to jail and keep them making the wrong choices. Folks, I had a friend to tell me that anyway, folks, it's been times when people that are very wealthy want to get on the school board. So you got to ask yourself, why would a wealthy person want to be on the school board? Why would a wealthy person want to be on the school board when they don't have any children in that school board? They don't have, they didn't even grow up in that community. It's got to be not to make a difference, but to keep control of our children. And we got to take control back. We got to do things differently. And so it's time for all new. I think that we need some new people running for office, and I think those people need to come on board, kicking ass. That's all I can say. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good evening and a happy new year. And I hope you guys have everything that you want this year.